March 31st. Franklin Graham. The fight for identity is real. Be your own man. Franklin Graham wanted to create his own path through life, aside from his famous father, and therefore, aside from Jesus. He was a mischievous boy, but that turned into pure rebellion, and he enjoyed testing the limits. My mother was going to insist that I got up in time to get to school at a proper time, Graham said. So, I started locking my door so she couldn't come in, and she started sliding firecrackers under the door. And with the rebellion came consequences. Instead of getting my esteem from achieving within the system, I got my thrills and identity from challenging the system, Graham said. This behavior led him to be expelled from high school and kicked out of college. His childish defiance had turned into a lifestyle that was a far cry from his dad's reputation as a global gospel preacher. Growing up in a faith-filled house, Franklin had always believed God existed. He just wanted to run his own life. He thought that drinking heavily, smoking, and anything else that brought him pleasure would be much more fulfilling. But the further he ran, the emptier he felt. I realized for the first time that sin had control over my life. Franklin Graham was not in charge, but sin was, and there was absolutely nothing I could do in my own power to overcome it. But on his birthday, in 1974, he had just finished a trip to Switzerland with his father when his dad sat him down, looked him in the eye, and said, "I want you to know that your mother and I sense there is a struggle for the soul of your life. And there is no halfway. Either you're going to have to accept Jesus Christ and what he says and obey him and follow him, or you'll have to reject him. There is no middle ground." Those few words stuck with 22-year-old Franklin as he traveled across Europe, bottle of scotch in hand, his mind replaying the conversation with his father over and over again. He was running hard from the one thing he knew that could bring him back to the man he was made to be. Well, a few weeks later, one night in Jerusalem, instead of his normal nightly routine at the bars, Franklin stayed in his hotel room reading through the Gospel of John. When I came to the 3rd chapter, I read not only that Jesus told Nicodemus he had to be born again, but I also grasped that Franklin Graham had to be born again as well. That night, Franklin found what he was so desperately searching for: belonging and rest. His days of running were over. That one conversation had changed his life forever. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. My years of running and rebellion had ended. It was finished. Franklin Graham had found the freedom of God that is found only in the gospel. The Apostle Paul talks about this freedom in 2 Corinthians 3:17, which says, "For the Lord is Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom." When somebody challenges you with the truth, especially someone close to you, are you willing to listen and accept it? The fight for identity is real. Be your own man.
Amen. My name is Mike Mott, and today is March 31st, and we've just listened to the story of Franklin Graham. Franklin's story is compelling, and I think it's inspiring because we get to see one of the most attractive character traits of our God. Our God is a God of the second chance. He's the God of the third chance. He's the God of the fourth and the fifth chance. Our God never stops pursuing our hearts. Out of the great depth of his love for you and for me, we can run from him, but we can't hide. The psalmist says in 139, "God, where can I go to get away from your spirit? Where can I flee to get away from your presence? If I go and make my bed down into the depths, you're there. If I go up into the heavens, you're there. If I fly on the wings of the dawn to the far side of the sea, even there, your presence, I will find your presence, and your spirit will guide me, and your hand will hold me." This is a great promise and a great challenge to us today, men. God is pursuing your hearts. And for some of us listening today, we've been running away from God. We're trying to hide from Him or avoid Him in some way. And He wants to be in relationship with you. For whatever reason, we've been hiding from Him for sin in our lives, things that we've done wrong, a wrong attitude or perception of who He is. But today He's pursuing your heart. Are you willing to allow God to be the Lord over your life? Are you willing to turn back to Him today and let Him be your God? That's our challenge today. Bless you guys.